What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Panda here, and today we're going to be talking about the new feature coming to Watcher of Realms, the Immortal Codex. Now, we don't have it in the game quite yet, but we have received some very interesting information on the Discord for the official Watcher of Realms, and so I want to kind of go over that and kind of give some brief thoughts about what I am expecting from this new feature. Now, I do know that we have this on the Forerunner server. I could go and unlock that, but I haven't been playing on the Forerunner server because I don't know. I thought I would be able to do it, and it's just a lot. I play a couple other games, and I just don't have the time to play a second account, and I would just rather focus on the main account. So realistically, I'm going to be just like you guys, and I'm only going to use that Forerunner server to talk about new heroes that are coming to the game, and I have access to the gallery already, so I don't need to push it any further. So, Immortal Codex, let's talk about it. You'll see here that it is coming soon, and it's an all new feature, and you'll see here that there's a couple different images, and we'll go over what those are. Something that's important is if you guys are just starting the game, you do have to complete normal 8-4 in order to unlock the Immortal Codex, but that's not super difficult, and of course, like, campaign is going to be one of the first things you're going to be pushing in the game, so realistically it's not a crazy unlock requirement, which I think is good. We've got some good brand new mechanics that are coming to the game. So each boss has two forms, first starting with the regular form, then enraging into a final form or a boss rush phase. In this mode, commanders must test their limits, assemble their teams strategically to maximize their DPS output, and earn higher scores to claim more abundant rewards. So it looks like they're going to be going off of a letter system. So you'll basically get a score, and then that score will fall between, a range of scores that will decide what your ranking is, whether it's A plus, S plus, etc. Right? So here we go. We have the first boss that they are announcing, which is the Conqueror. Conquerors summon armies of monsters to assault the Soul Core. Although Conquerors cannot be attacked directly, their HP is linked with the units they summon. So by attacking its summons, you can damage the Conqueror. So recommended heroes here, I'm seeing a lot of AoE champions, right? I'm seeing Valkyra doing AoE, Ardea doing AoE, Gon is AoE, Aatrox is AoE, and it does say here that the key to overcoming Conqueror is to pulverize its summons with damage. Use ground-based heroes with powerful AoE attacks to eliminate summons swiftly. Additionally, be sure to deploy ground healers to raise your team's durability. So this, because it says specifically ground, this makes me think that there are very few or no platforms for this fight, and that is slightly concerning, I think, for some people, because as far as I'm aware, the only real ground healer we have is Constance. So that will be interesting for sure. I think that if you don't have one of these ground healers, I think Mariel is also technically a ground healer. But I think that Northern faction could be very good here. And also the artifacts that apply healing on certain things could be very good as well. Also champions such as Wrath, who have inbuilt healing, would also be probably pretty good here as well. We'll of course have to see the specifics. If there's at least one platform you can bring a healer that way, which could be okay. We'll have to see what that looks like, though. But yeah, so a ground-based AoE damage boss, which is pretty interesting. I like that. Then we go into the Wasteland Titan. So this is the one that I have talked about previously, I think in a couple different videos. I've also talked about it on my stream pretty extensively. This is the healing boss. So the Wasteland Titan possesses extremely high defense, is immune to all debuffs and crowd control effects, and when attacking inflicts a healing reduction. Among the various heroes, only Iona can deal effective damage to it. Ensure the survival of both Iona and her clones to achieve victory. So for clarification, this is not your Iona, okay? This is an Iona that is built into the area, and your goal is to keep Iona and her clones alive, which is why you need to bring a ton of healing. So due to the Wasteland Titan's potent AoE damage abilities and healing reduction effects, heroes with AoE heal, dispelling abilities, and damage shields are invaluable in countering its strength. So this is why people were saying when Aelin was the 10x that Aelin would be very, very good for Immortal Codex because she has a very large healing range and does a good chunk of healing. Same thing here with the obvious things, right? You know, you're going to have your hollows, your vortexes, your Medons, your Eloins, right? All of your really strong healers that provide, defensive buffs and large AoE healing are going to be very, very good here. So definitely excited to give this a try. I feel like my account is, we'll quickly hop over and take a look at it. I feel like my account is in an okay spot for healers, but not a great spot, right? Like I've got Vortex, I've got Hollow, both really good heroes. I've got Medon, right? Really good. And then it kind of just falls off, right? I don't have another healer till Lily. And then there's Nisande all the way down here, and I think that's actually it. Yeah, that's actually it. So I don't have a legendary healer, so maybe we'll get lucky and we'll pull one, but this is going to be, I think, a very interesting fight for my account personally, because I don't have a large chunk of healing champions, so we'll have to see what that looks like for us. Then we have the Lord of Styx. So Lord of Styx activates his Soul Keeper shield periodically, which can only be broken with an intense barrage of attacks. Break the shield as swiftly as possible to weaken the Lord of Styx. Failing to do so will result in taking devastating damage from the Lord of Styx. So this basically is kind of like Guild Boss 2.0, okay? He applies a shield. If you don't kill the shield, he kills your team. Very similar to the Guild Boss. So your single target DPS are going to be very powerful. This one I think is probably going to be the easiest one for me personally because I do have access to Setram, Zillitu, Hex, Pyros, you know, the guild boss killers, right? And so I think this one's going to be a surprisingly easy fight for me. We'll have to see though, because of course, it does recommend Faucha and Voroth. So I'm wondering if attack speed specifically makes a difference. Like maybe it's not necessarily the damage you deal, but how many attacks you put in. We'll have to see what that looks like. I'm not entirely sure, but it looks very interesting, and I am very excited personally to see what these fights do. It also does go down here and show the top rankings for healers within these different Immortal Codexes. So for healers, we see here the pretty standard stuff, right? Your Vortex, your Medon, your Hollows, your Dolores, and then surprisingly Lightlock is actually up here at number 3, which is surprising that Lightlock is here above Hollow. It's a little weird to me, but interesting. I mean, we'll have to see. Maybe Lightlock has another really strong place here. Then we go in for DPS, and this is not surprising at all for me, for a couple reasons. One, the top 3 people are they're all free, right? And also they do some really good stuff. Specifically, Volca here is going to be really good for that ground stage because she has a passive that allows her allies to heal. And so because there aren't really too many healing champions that can be on the ground, Volca is going to be really, really good there. Same thing here with Abomination and Wrath. Abomination has that, death mechanic, keeps him alive. He's also just a very tanky champion. And Wrath has some healing built into his kit. And then Valkyra, also not super surprising. She has a ridiculously long range, especially once you get her to A1. Kind of makes perfect sense. Then Idril is Idril, right? Not super surprising here as well. Then we go into Defenders, and we see a pretty decent chunk of defenders that make a lot of sense, right? Baron is a very good unkillable, basically, tank. Regulus has that AoE damage reduction. This could be really good in potentially that melee, because even though, he's not going to deal a ton of damage, he could keep the rest of your team alive to kind of help Volca help keep them up with the innate healing. Brokir is just an unkillable wall. Olag is pretty much the same thing. And then Livian is a surprisingly high DPS champion for being a tank. So Definitely interesting. I'm really excited to see what this brings. I'm also really excited to see what these 10,000 diamonds worth of prizes is. But we'll have to see what that looks like once we do get the Frostfall campaign coming in, as well as the Immortal Codex. But guys, that's going to be it for me today. If you liked this video, please hit that thumbs up button and leave a comment down below with which of the 3 bosses are you the most excited about, and also which of the 3 bosses are you the most prepared for, because I think that we're going to see probably a rotation of bosses, in which case if we get, Lord of Sticks, I'm going to be in a really good spot because I have all those champions. But if we get someone like the Wasteland Titan, I may struggle a little bit in those early games. But definitely look forward to more content once the Immortal Codex comes out, because I will probably be doing some guides of at least what I'm personally doing, and placements and things like that. So definitely hit that sub button if you want to see those videos in the future. And that's going to be it for me today. I will see you in the next one. Peace.